For me now, the ACO, it's also a way to understand how the people know or not the brand. For me now, ACO is other channel that have to contribute also to build a hard and a big brand. Sources like Reddit, for example, for ChatGPT, or many blogs, or many websites that they use usually to build the answer, it's necessary that you be there. If not, you don't seek for them. We need to be present in all the parts of the funnel. We need to be present in all the parts at the beginning and of course at the end if finally they don't buy the eSIM until they arrive to the destination. There are many studies. McKinsey, for example, presented a study that say that in 2028, around the 80% of the searches will do in LLMs. If I need to choose only one time, I will choose the LLM.
Welcome to another episode of eCoffee with Experts. I'm your host, Austin Willman. I'm here today with Ramón Cordero Amado, who is a digital entrepreneur and an SEO expert based in Madrid. He's serving as the head of SEO for Holafly. Ramón, welcome to eCoffee. Great to have you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. And hi, everyone.
Hey, everyone. I'm glad that we're all brought together. It's right after Christmas, right before New Year's, and there's a lot to talk about in 2026. I mean, we're going to get into the core update that you're working through right now internally, but bring us up to speed with your background, Ramón. You started in journalism and content before moving into SEO and now leadership in SEO. What is it about your early background that still shapes how you approach SEO decisions today?
Yeah, probably when I started in the journalism sector, I wrote always thinking in the user. I mean, I didn't need to think in algorithms because I didn't know nothing about it. And then when I started to work in ACO, you started to write thinking always in the keywords and sometimes we forget the most important thing. And the most important thing is the user. So probably I continue with these same thoughts about this, and I continue not writing, but thinking always in the user. This is the most important thing.
Yeah, and it's something to easily overlook, especially if you're constantly in the strategy and you're dealing with your team members and trying to execute on your goals. It's hard to remember that the reason that you're doing that is for the user. It's the people who are experiencing it as the last person in line. How do you how are you collecting feedback to kind of inform you if your strategy is working or not? Like, what sort of feedback mechanisms do you have from the user that will guide your strategy now?
Well, in terms of feedback, of course, we have many tools where we are measuring all the time our keywords, our traffic, at the same time, revenue, of course. So if you calculate or measure only the traffic, but you forget the revenue, probably you are ranking some results that it's okay for bring traffic, organic traffic, but it's not enough to bring the revenue. And this is the most important thing. I mean, we are working to bring revenue, not only organic traffic. So how many times have you seen few projects that they are ranking very well, but they say, I don't know why, but I don't bring good results in terms of revenue. The reason is because you are ranking for things, for keywords that probably your user are not looking for or are not interested. So for me, this is the most important signal to understand if we are working well or not. If finally all this traffic bring or not us the revenue enough that we expect or not.
Yeah, going back to making sure that the revenue is the primary metric, and then you can back up and say, all right, what are the supporting metrics that get us the revenue? I'm curious, are there any other metrics that are important now that maybe weren't important a year ago, or vice versa? Any metrics that are not important now, but they were important a year ago, or the opposite? I can't remember what I just said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, probably. And all these changes that we are suffering in AECO with AI overviews, for
Mm-hmm.
example, or the inclusion of all the LLMs, I think doesn't have sense to continue measuring the channel in the same way that we made, for example, last
Mm-hmm.
year, the years before, because the rules have changed for us, for all of us. So for me now, the ACO, it's also a way to understand how the people know or not the brand. For
Huh.
me now, ACO is other channel that have to contribute also to build a hard and a big brand. It's true that now, in for example, with the LLMs like ChatGPT or Perplexity, you can find with tool, of course, new KPI like brand visibility, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
this is exactly the thing that we need to work to build, as I said, a big and a hard brand. If
Mm-hmm.
not, it's very complicated to continue in the same line because the ACO has changed, and now we need to work very close, for example, to the PR department or of course the brand department, because the brand signals now it's something that we need to work together.
Yeah. How do you measure your I know there are different tools out there, right, for measuring LLM visibility. Do you have something internally that you've built at Holafly, or do you use a third-party tool to measure brand visibility?
Yeah, of course, we use other tools, external tools, to measure the most important prompt that we want to control and about us and about our competitors. But at the same time, we use, for example, GA4 to measure as well the revenue and the traffic that we are bringing to our website. It's true that it's quite difficult to try to measure because many prompts, many results of in the LLMs don't have links directly to our website, so it's very difficult to make a real attribution
Mhm.
in the tools. But yeah, for evaluated prompts, the volume, the search volume of these prompts and brand visibility in this prompt, we use other tools.
And then all right, hypothetically, you see that there is prompts that are coming up and you're saying, "Okay, these prompts we want to start to show up." What's your strategy for making the brand more visible in LLMs to show up or have a higher likelihood of showing up for the prompts that you see? What's your strategy now?
Yeah, first of all, of course, we need to understand if we are working on or not this kind of content. If not, we need to understand exactly what kind of content it's. For example, informational content, or maybe no, it's something more close to the conversational content. So then we try to create this content in FAQs, blog, or maybe in the PDPs directly. Then, of course, we work in the internal linking to give them authority. And at the same time, we are working to improve the sources, our visibility in the sources that the LLM use usually to build their answers. And for me, this is the
Mhm.
third part. It's very important. It's like the link building, the new link building, because now, sources like Reddit, for example, for ChatGPT, or many blogs, many websites that they use usually to build the answer, it's necessary that you be there. If not, you don't exist for them. So
Mm.
create the content, optimize the content, and of course, try to win visibility in the
Yeah, you bring up a good point with Reddit. I mean, Reddit and Quora and some of these user-generated platforms. Does Olafly have a strategy for those sort of social listening, social engagement, a type of platforms? And is it part of the SEO team or is that part of like the social team? How do you
yeah.
approach that?
Yeah, it's a mix. Part of the strategy is in my team, and I created in 2025 a little team of social media ACO.
Mm,
At the same time, other team like social media teams or brand teams also make different actions in this line to obviously understand which is our presence in the social media channels like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or maybe Reddit,
Mhm.
and try to again improve our visibility them.
You just mentioned about prompts and how you're looking at prompts for LLMs. Is that like where I guess I'm asking what's your priority in terms of, let's say, like keyword research and content creation? Is it still, yes, we need to do keyword mapping and clustering for SERPs, or has your priority shifted to LLMs and prompts?
Yeah, of course we work on keywords also for the traditional
Mhm.
ACO and to optimize our website.
Mhm.
But when we try to understand exactly how the people search in LLMs, we can't use keywords. In fact,
Mhm.
we can't use prompts, exactly prompts, because when you change in the same prompt, you change one letter or one word, probably
Yeah.
the answer will be different. So we are starting to work in topics. This is
Mhm.
for me. This is the best way to understand exactly um, the evolution, the brand visibility, and how the user are searching. We try to to analyze few similar prompts in the same topic, and then we analyze only the topic because if not, it's quite difficult to try to understand what the people are searching.
Yeah.
And that you can be crazy because the answers are very different between them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. Thinking about prompts or sorry, about topics. Can you give me like, do you have a framework or like a breakdown of how you're thinking about topics? I would imagine there's probably 5 to 10, maybe more, maybe less, like main topics, and then you have to probably, break them down into subtopics, and then maybe one more. How do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah, of course. We have many topics. For example, comparative or transactional, or for example, comparative, I mean, best eSIM for transactional is just eSIM for destination. Other kind of topics are, for example, about the speed of the service, or maybe just try to know information about a destination,
Hmm.
because don't forget that when somebody is searching about a destination, probably this person is thinking to go to this
Yeah.
destination. At the same
Yeah.
time, we need to attack them before that. Probably they are thinking that they need a eSIM service. We need to attack them and
Mm.
be present in the first part of the funnel, of course, to be in the first steps where they are planning the trip.
Mm. And so, like for a brand like Olafly, you're talking about eSIM, which anybody can buy. It's a global product, but you're saying like at the point where somebody would be in the mindset of like in the situation to buy an eSIM, they're typically pretty far down, like planning their trip. They're like, okay, I bought the flight ticket, I'm ready to go. What are like kind of the last minute things, right? I mean, they're not buying an eSIM before they pick where they go, right?
No, no, no.
Yeah.
In fact, we are the last one, and many people
Yeah.
buy the eSIM when they are in the destination.
Yeah.
So yeah, for this reason, we need to be present in all the parts of the funnel. When they are thinking and we are planning, and probably they don't know that seeks this kind of product, because many people don't know about the eSIM product. This is the truth. So we need to discover then that we sell this kind of product. But at the same time, of course, we need to be when they know which is their destination,
Hmm.
and then they are planning, for example, the roadmap that they're going to make in the destination. So we need to be present in all the parts at the beginning, and of course at the end, if finally they don't buy the easing until they arrive to the destination.
Mhm, mhm. I know, I was that person the first time I traveled to Europe, which I did go to Spain the first time I went to Europe, but I landed in Denmark, and as an American, I just, I think that everything is available to me and I'll have no problems, like the movies, but when I got there, I had an issue, I couldn't use my phone, I had to buy a whole new phone, which I used as my like European phone. So I wish I knew about Holafly, when I was traveling. So you're right. Like I wish I would have known that earlier in the process. It was, years ago. But that's really interesting. So I mean, do you still see any mistakes that other SEOs are making when they're trying to build this sort of a content strategy? I mean, you have info, you have like maybe comparative, commercial, transactional categories of content that you're creating. Do you see any mistakes for other SEOs when they're thinking about content strategy?
Yeah, probably they don't localize the content, and they think that the same content is useful in United States and in Australia. It's true that probably they don't work localized content because they don't have resources to work in on this, and this is normal,
Hmm.
so yeah, probably the big mistake when you try to you try to go to in the same language to few markets, is
Mm.
that you think the same content is useful in all the market, and it's not. You need to localize because the people of course search different things and explain the things in different things. For example, an example that you can search in our website. When you are looking for example, a visa, when you need permission to go to our country, it's not the same. You are in the United States and you want to go to Japan, or you are in Australia. So the content is couldn't be the same. But
Yeah.
you are working on the same language. So many times people make like global or general contents for all the countries which where speak English, for example, no,
Hmm.
and of course this kind of study doesn't work.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I am traveling. Well, we're planning our wedding next year in Brazil, and my family is all from the U.S. My fiance is from Brazil, so we're prepping our friends, my friends from around the world and from the U.S. How to go to Brazil, what the visa process looks like, and yeah, you're right. It's very different. Like we will have to introduce the eSIM, early on in the visa process, but like some some countries for Americans, you don't even need a visa. So, like, why, if that was your target market, if like trying to think of another country that Americans don't need visas to go to, Canada, let's say, right? And you're targeting the American market who are traveling to Canada, it doesn't make sense for Olafly to create top of funnel content about visas to get into Canada, is what you're saying. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of globalization versus localization, you have a global team. Is that right? Or is everything based in Madrid?
No, 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 it's global team.
Okay. How do you think about goal setting from your role as global director of SEO? And then how do you align your team to have goals that contribute toward the top end company goal?
Wow, it's quite difficult, but not in my case because, to be honest, I have a great team. But it's true that, for example, we have many localizations. I have team in Asia, for example, or in United States, or in South America, or of course in Europe.
Hmm.
But the truth is that even they are specialists, not specialists, but yeah, they know the language, of course, of each
Hmm.
one. We work with the same strategy. I mean, for example, if our main goal is to improve, I don't know, South Africa,
Hmm.
all the team work in the same line. Even you are in Asia or you are in South America, even you are writing content or optimize the PDPs in South America or in Taiwan. It's the same. For me, the key here is to transmit clearly which is the strategy, which is the
Hmm.
line that we need to follow, and to work together for a unique goal. For me, this is the key.
And do you have a goal setting framework or like, let's call it OKRs, objectives and key results? What do you guys use internally to track and keep goals on pace?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We work OKR for each quarter, for the entire year, for each member of the team, for all the department, for each team inside the department. Yeah, of course,
Mhm,
we need to work on this because we need to know exactly if we are working in the correct line or not.
mhm.
And if not, we need to detect and change our strategy because something is wrong, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so OKRs are, I find that OKRs are more effective in different sized companies, and it's typically the larger companies where OKRs are more effective. But in smaller agencies or whatever, that might not be the best way to approach. Like maybe there's more pivots, maybe there's more adaptation, more overlap and things like that. I'm curious, now that we're at the end of the year and we're thinking about 2026, what sort of I mean, you don't need to be specific about revenue numbers or anything, but like what sort of goals or initiatives are you planning for 2026?
Yeah, of course, we need to continue work in the same line in the countries that we are now leading the sector, the market. We need to continue the same line, of course, because our competitors that they are very nice in ACO as well, so they need to continue. And of course, we need to work in other markets, in more markets. We think we have an opportunity, and of course, one of the most important thing for the 2026 is to work in the AI visibility. This is one of the most important thing. I think it's for for everybody is the same. But yeah, probably is one of them is our focus, one of our focus for the next year. Imagine when maybe ChatGPT allow to the user buy directly in the platform. So this is a big opportunity for all of us, and we need to be there when then the user can do it. So yeah, we need to start to win visibility now, and when we started to we will start to sell, we will be there the first one.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of AI, other than just LLM visibility, right? Because this is the target or the outcome of SEO. But in order to get there, I would imagine that you're using SEO internally for process, for analysis, for research. How is your team using AI, either systems or LLMs? How are they using that internally to create better SEO results?
Wow, yeah, well, we use every day for many things.
Mm,
When we need to analyze something, it's very easy to share with the AI a website, a URL to know the details, for example, technical details, to make audits, our own audits or the competitor audits, for example, for ideas to find new opportunities
hmm
in terms of, keyword search, for example. Maybe then we analyze in ACO tools and we find that the recommendation of ChatGPT, for example, is not the best. But it doesn't matter. It's a new opportunity to find new ideas. It's like kind of brainstorming
hmm
every day. And so you can find many opportunities. So yeah, and at the same time, we connect tools, for example, to be more agile. For example, to write things, to connect with Jira tool, for example. Yeah, we use every day for many things.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I love to hear that. It's like you can be faster and more efficient and produce better results. Like it's not one or the other anymore.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Is there one thing, AI related, LLM related, SEO related, is there one thing that if you had to go all in on in the next year to 3 years, what would you choose?
Only one thing, you mean? Only one
Yeah,
thing?
if there's like one priority, like a top
Wow.
priority. Yeah.
Wow, it's difficult, because ACO has many factors at the same
Yeah.
time, but probably I will bet for the AI for the to try to gain visibility in the different LLMs. Yeah, yeah, because there are many studies. McKinsey, for example, presented an AI study that say that in 2028, around the 80% of the searches will do in LLMs. So probably
Yeah.
many of many of us we are going to use not only but most of the time the LLM. So if I
Mm,
need to choose only
yeah.
one thing, I will choose the LLMs.
Yeah. And now the real follow-up question to that is what is your LLM of choice personally as Ramon?
I use ChatGPT
Okay.
most of the time. Yeah, but I don't know why. Probably it's the first one that I started to use, and but
Hmm.
I don't think it probably is the best in my case. Yeah, as I said, I started with to use ChatGPT and I continue. Probably it's I
Yeah.
will change. Of course, I tried many of them
Hmm.
because I like to know the difference between them. For example, I know that the Perplexity or yeah Gemini don't use the same sources. For example, to
Hmm. Hmm.
build the answers. So this is something interesting for my job. But for example, in my personal life, I usually use ChatGPT for many things. It's like my friend. It's
Yeah.
my yeah, it's my financial
Yeah.
team. So yeah,
Yeah.
ChatGPT helps me many things.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. And I'm the same way. I prefer ChatGPT, and maybe it is one of those things, and it could be the same thing, a message to those who are building brands that oftentimes, it's whatever is first, not necessarily what's best. Because right,
Exactly.
maybe Gemini is a better product, or there are other products that are better than ChatGPT. I mean, maybe not for long because of this AI, arms race that everybody keeps up leveling. But, if somebody's planning a trip, maybe the first prompt that they do and say, like, what all do I need to know to go to Barcelona? And they say, all right, here's all the things you need to know, visa application, da 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 da. And also, you need to get an eSIM. If Holafly is there and it's the first one, you have the primacy bias where it's like, so yeah, thanks for sharing that with me. But I think I'm the same way with ChatGPT. It's the first one.
Absolutely. And for this reason, I said before, we need to be the first in many markets. Yeah, you have only one opportunity to have a good impact to the users. And if you are the first one, probably you are in their top of mind.
Yeah. It's a great point. Ramon, where can we find out more about you and about Olafly and everything that you're working on?
Wow, we are working on, of course, traditional SEO, but also in social media strategy. I said before,
Hmm.
I think it's very important to try to improve our visibility in social media channels like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, for example, or Reddit at the same time. Of course, we are working on um, in a great content strategy
Hmm.
in many countries at the same time. We are working in a great link building strategy, but at the same time, the PR strategy.
Mm,
This- Or also, it's important to work together
yeah.
and at the same time, of course, in the AI strategy. So these
Yeah.
are probably the four pillars that we are working on right now.
Amazing. And we will link to the Olafly website and your LinkedIn as well when the show drops. So, Ramon, thank you for being here. And I appreciate everything that you've brought to the table. The point about localization is a really interesting one. And I think as the web grows, as AI becomes more prolific, it's definitely something that we need to consider is like connecting with real people in the, all around the globe so we can understand really how those people speak and think. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure.